What's up guys, welcome to the Momentum Trading Lab. I'm your host Renier. If you haven't already, please smash that like and subscribe and let's get into it. Alright, let's start with the Dixie. So I'm gonna just zoom in a little bit and we are gonna start on the daily chart. So if we have a closer look, we also discussed this last week, but we have right over here we have these relative equal highs. So in theory, traders will see this as strong resistance and they will put their stop losses above these highs if they decide to short this leg down. So in theory, these stops that resided above these highs should be knocked out, and in theory we should be seeing lower prices on the Dixie. So let's quickly mark this off as our buy side liquidity. So we tapped into it right there. So it's like to see some strong displacement now to the downside, showing that there's bearish order flow. If we look at the Momentum Master B, the oscillators is starting to get extended. If we have a closer look at the MACD, it's starting to print that purple bearish indication, and then also the Williams is starting to roll over with the stochastics RSI. So we are just waiting for this displacement to the downside. Then we should see the risk on assets such as the NAS, ES and Bitcoin start to rally a little bit after seeing lower prices during the most of last week. Alright, so this was our buy side. Okay, and then let's quickly do our top down analysis. So right here is a bit of an imbalance. We're gonna mark that off as our daily fair value gap. So this could act as a magnet for price action, so we should just keep this level in mind. Mark that as FVG, and let's see if there's any other imbalances. There's one there as well. Mark that off as well. Right, and not really anything right there. Okay, I think basically that's it. So let's have a look at the liquidity pools. So the buy side liquidity will normally reside above old highs or relative equal highs like we have right there. So this buy side level is at 104.699. And then the next one we want to monitor is this one right here. Also have relative equal highs. This level is at 105.883. Okay, so I'm happy that we know where the buy side or the major buy side liquidity pools are. So let's have a look below. Okay, there's a let's give this a different color, make it blue. And then the opposite of what we have right here is the relative equal lows. So this is where our sell side liquidity will be. Okay, any imbalances on this leg? Not really. Let's just have a closer look to make sure. Not really though. There was a little one right there, but price came into it twice and then moved away from it, so I'm not going to worry about that one too much. Let's just mark off the rest of the internal sell side liquidity on the daily chart. Okay, so the first sell side level that we have right here is at 101.742, and then the next one is at 100.551. And then our external sell side liquidity is right here at 99. Oh, now it changed. Okay, so we have the relative equal lows right there. Then we also have it right here. And we also have it right here. So to me, it seems there's a bunch of sell side liquidity that they can go and attack on the dollar. And then we also have this daily fair value gap right here. and these relative equal lows. So to me, it seems that the draw on liquidity for the dollar is to the downside. 1 hour starting to roll over. And let's see what we have here. So we had some local internal buy side liquidity right here. Just came and tapped into it. And now we want to see this displacement below this low. We want to see an aggressive move below this low. That will leave a nice fat fair value gap. And that will be a nice indication for us that the risk on asset wants to rally. Have a look at the market structure. So it's still in bearish market structure. It just seems this move up. We couldn't close above these highs. So let's see what happens on the next 1 hour candle. So we need the next 1 hour candle to go into this area so that we can see the bearish fair value gap more or less in this area. That will be a good indication that the opposite will happen on the risk on assets. Okay, let's see 1 hour. A quick look at the 15 minute. You can see the displacement on the 15 minute. Also pull a Fibonacci on this. So we want to see the Dixie just go into the bearish fair value gap and then start to move to the downside. All right, so that's the dollar. Let's have a look at the Nasdaq on the daily chart. Okay, so we came right into this volume imbalance. Mark this off. Alright, so volume imbalance. It was the imbalance between Thursday and Friday. So this is also known as a new day opening gap. So it came right towards the midpoint and then started to move away from it. And then right here at the top we have another one, just a little bit smaller. So this one starts at around 15,756. And then we have some highs right here. Let's just see if there's any imbalances. We have one right there. So that is our daily fair value gap. This starts at, just quickly get an accurate one on this. So it starts at 15,018. And then the high end of the fair value gap is at 15,074. Alright, so let's see if there's anything else that we need to consider on the daily chart. One thing to keep in mind is these relative equal lows right here. So at some point the market making algorithm will come for these lows, because there will be sell side liquidity or sell stops below these lows. Marked as sell side and relative equal lows. Okay, this level is at 14,251. Okay, also a bit of a fair value gap, or the sell side liquidity is in a fair value gap, so this kind of makes the magnet of this area a little bit stronger. But if you just look, this imbalance and this one is obviously a lot closer than this one right here. So it seems in the immediate future, price action will rather move towards this imbalance that we have right here. And then what we also saw on the dollar is, it seems on the higher term time frame, the draw on liquidity for the dollar is to the downside. So that gives confluence that we should see a bit of upside on the Nasdaq for the next couple of days or weeks. Okay, let's go to the 4-hour. Okay, so right at this daily fair value gap, I want to make that line a little shorter. I want to annotate something right there. Okay, so this line, this is the daily fair value gap low, and then it's also 4-hour buy side liquidity. All right, so then we had one right here, but price action already came into it and left it. There's one right here that is currently trading in. Well, that kind of leave it. Now it's back in it. It came down, rebalanced this area. Let's give this a different color. Okay, 4 hours starting to get a little bit overextended. So Williams could still push up, and we have the MACD low. A little bit of indecision on the momentum master B. The stochastics is getting extended, but it looks like the Williams and the MACD still has some strength to the upside. So let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, so on the 1 hour we had a bit of a, I'm just gonna leave this on my chart because I want to see once we get into this area what happens. This is my 1 hour fair value gap. Let's have a closer look at the momentum master B. Also a little bit of indecision. You can see some transaction, some jagged edges on the stochastics and the Williams, or on the MACD rather. Okay, so I'm gonna not remove it, but I'm just gonna set my visibility to only show this fair value gap when I am on the 4 hour. This one I'm just gonna leave it like that, so I just remember it's there. So when I get to the 1 hour, seeing that I want to find some scalps in the afternoon session, is that we need to mark off the liquidity pools, and the 1 hour and the 15-minute is the main ones that I'm going to look at once we enter the afternoon session. So let's mark that off. Okay, so I'm going to start with the sell side liquidity. So maybe before I get into this, and I'll just quickly show you why I do this. So I have a simple trading model that I follow. So first off, are we in a kill zone? So I normally go for the New York AM and PM kill zones. So normally that will be a check, and then take out a liquidity pool. So this is the very first thing that needs to happen. And I normally, for intraday trading, I look at the 1 hour and the 15-minute for those liquidity levels. So let's mark off those levels. So we have one right here at 14,609. Okay, I just want to quickly I just want to hide this as well. Okay, and then the next level is right here. So I just look at the low. So technically a low is defined when you have a candle like this with higher lows on either side. So here we have a low with a higher low right there and a higher low right there. Technically this is also a low, so let's just have this on the chart as well. And we have a low right there and a low right there, and then this is also relative equal lows. Okay, and then we have, let's just copy this line, snap it to that high. Put this on the top. All right, so then we have a buy side liquidity level right here at 14,957. And then this one we already have marked off, and we know this is going to be a significant level because we have the daily fair value gap right here with marked off with this red block. And then this is a high on the 4 hour. Let's also just see in which session that was. All right, so this was on Thursday. This was basically during the New York yield zone. So this is going to be a strong liquidity level right there. Okay, and then the last one that we need to mark off is just this one right here. Okay, and then we should be good on the 15 minute. All right, so basically what I'm going to look for when we get in the afternoon session is, so let's say for instance we come back, we take out these sell side liquidity at this low. So normally what I do is I've done most of my analysis now on the daily. We worked ourselves down to the 1 hour and the 15 minute to identify the highs and the lows on the lower term time frames. And then I basically go to the 5 minute. So now I will, most of the time for the rest of the day, I will be on the 5 minute and the 2 minute. So what I want to see is, let's get my path tool. So let's say price action worked its way up into this area. It takes out these liquidity pools. Then I want to see displacement to the downside. And that displacement is defined by it printing a nice big fair value gap, just like that. So that shows us that there's bearish order flow. And then I just pull my fib from the high to the low. So the main levels that I use is the 618, the 786, the 706, and the 0.5 for the equilibrium. And then I have some levels for TP, which is the negative 0.27, the negative 0.618, and then one standard deviation, which is defined by -1. So then if price action comes back into this fair value gap, then I will enter around that area with my stop loss right there. And then you can use these levels as guidance, but typically I would like to pair up my TP with the opposing liquidity below these lows. So that's basically the my basic entry model. Let's quickly go through that again. So take out liquidity pool, we just discussed that. Let's quickly open that again. Okay, so take out liquidity pool. Okay, did I already remove that? Let's just quickly do it again because this is kind of important. So let's say price action works its way up into the liquidity pool. We want to see displacement, but the most important thing is the market structure shift. So this is going to keep on making higher lows, and I just normally kind of track it with a line like this. So as it makes new higher lows, I just track it. And sometimes I kind of put an alert on that, so it alerts me once this happens. So that will be your market structure shift. So we want to see strong displacement below this low. And then, like I said, that nice big fat fair value gap, retrace into that area or into premium. You take the short, and then you can pair up your TPs with the opposing liquidity pool, which will be right there. So market structure shift, displacement, fair value gap, and then 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio to my first take profit. So from that high to the low. Alright, so you will have to kind of, your first TP will have to be kind of at the -618, then you have your 2-to-1. So then that is a valid setup. And then normally what I like to do is, because it's very important to log every single trade so that you have all of the data to review. So every single trade that I take, I will fill in this little card that I have, and then I will kind of do it before. So right when I enter, I'll take a screenshot, just paste it in here, and then once the trade is played out, then I'll paste the next one right here. And then I keep all of this, and then I have all of the data that I need to make informed decisions on how to tweak my trading plan. All right, so alrighty, okay, so let me quickly just remove all of this that I used for the explanation. So right now, going into the afternoon sessions, these are the liquidity levels that I'm currently looking at. And I will paste this in the Discord right after. So if you are not in the Discord, definitely grab the link in the description. I'll also pin it to the live chat so you can grab it in there. You see, we got already kind of starting to roll over right here on the 15-minute. There's a nice fair value gap right there. Let's have a quick look at ES. Ooh, so ES did not come and fill this imbalance. So that's interesting because ES and the Nasdaq, they kind of move together. So if ES wants to come down to rebalance this volume imbalance, then the Nasdaq is also going to follow. So that is interesting. All right, so let's do our top-down analysis. For ES, we also have the same imbalance right here, which starts at about 4,580. We have the same thing going on the Nasdaq. All right, let's have a look at the imbalances on the daily chart. Okay, so we have a fair value gap. The lower end is at 4,436. The higher end is at 4,446. Okay, we have one right here. It's currently trading in that area. We'll look at the 4-hour. Just want to see which level it came. Almost exact bounce on the Fibonacci 618, so that is a bit of a bullish sign. I mean, and then also the very last lower high that we had was right there, and then we traded above it, but not very convincingly. We didn't displace above it, but with this one we had a bit of displacement. So on the 4-hour, you could say this is a shift of market structure from bearish to bullish. Okay, so on the 1-hour for ES, it already came for the sell side liquidity. So it didn't displace below this low. So this is a bullish signal. So this could have been the liquidity grab before we see higher prices on ES. I'm gonna copy one of these lines. Okay, so the first level on the buy side is at 4,408. And the next one that we will monitor is this one right here, which is at 4,427. This one we already came for. Gonna steal one of these lines. Okay, and then we have relative equal lows right here. We will have to take note of this. This is at 4,367. And then the external liquidity for this range is at 4,350 exactly. All right, let's have a look at the 15-minute. Okay, so fair value gap right here. Another smaller one right there. See, the Nasdaq is already pushing past the bearish fair value gap that it had. Yes, it's still trying to fight, but this could be an inversion fair value gap because the move into this fair value gap is bullish. It has bullish order flow because we have the fair value gap right here. So this move up isn't just an algorithmic move back to rebalance this area. So what could happen is we could consolidate in this area for a little bit and then push out and then kind of test this as support before continuing to the upside. All right, let's remove that. Okay, and then these will be the liquidity levels that I'm going to monitor, and then you just look for exactly the same thing that we just discussed on the Nasdaq. It's just these couple of items. All right, so looks like we are moving towards these levels right here. So if we remain bullish for the rest of the day, then at some point price action will print. Just switch off the magnet. It will print a short-term low, and then it will just quickly dip below that low to grab some local stops right here, and then it will displace. And then that's exactly the same setup that we discussed on the checklist. Then if it prints that fair value gap and it retraces into that area, then you can go long. And then you can use those fib levels to guide you towards the opposing liquidity pools. Alrighty guys, I think that's my analysis for the day. I gave you all of the levels, the major imbalances that I'm looking at. Liquidity levels, we looked at the dollar, we looked at the Nasdaq, and we had a quick look at ES. So guys, if you wanna learn these concepts, you can get the details in the description of the live stream. So what I teach is SMC concepts, so market structure, fair value gaps, order blocks, OTE, understanding liquidity, time and price theory. So there's certain times of the day that the algorithm will do certain things, daily bias and my scalping strategy, and then also using the momentum master indicator. I have a swing trading strategy which is good for crypto, and then a scalping strategy that you can use on crypto or index futures. How to use cumulative volume, delta, and open interest. This is mostly for crypto. Risk management, Fibonacci, and then also join our Discord We have a bunch of cool people in there. And then if you want to get the momentum master indicator, we currently have a 20% discount using my link and coupon code. Alrighty, I will see you guys tomorrow. I will try and keep you guys updated in the Discord. So safe trading, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much.